Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening and watching another episode of the Football Betting Podcast with me, Tom Pipkin, and my co host, Tom Walker. We're back after the international break to dive into a full slate of Premier League, Championship, League One, and League Two action. Plenty to get stuck into in terms of all the leagues. We'll bring you our best bets from each of them, and we'll wrap them all up at the end in a bomb proof treble, which leads us on nicely, Tom, to start the show. We were successful again with a treble, our second winner in three shows, with last week's very comfortable winner, really.
Yeah, 6.48 was the price for that winner. And like you said, we've won two of our last three now. And the one we lost, we had two winners on that as well. So it was just the one that let us down. So we're hitting form at a really great time, especially with the full slate returning. And
Mm.
then also a midweek slate of EFL action as well. Absolutely delicious.
Oh, juicy,
Yeah.
juicy. And it does pay to watch the show or listen to the show when it's the international break because we see it
Mm.
all the time. Because there's no Premier League or Championship, our listeners and our viewers decline a bit,
Yep.
which I guess is natural and normal
Hmm.
because most people are interested in the Premier League content. But you're missing out.
Massively.
You're massively missing out. So, yeah, next time there's an international break in November, make sure you listen to the pod.
Absolutely.
We also want to touch on something brand new for the podcast, which is been sent out on Twitter today, and you can find that at T_FB podcast on Twitter. It's our new exclusive Patreon account, which is called FBP Plus. And it's a little bit extra. It's completely free. Um, and what we're going to do on that is put a few bets out every week that are completely exclusive to that. We're not going to read them out on the pod. Um, and yeah, see if we can get some profitability there as well. We're going to do more things like player prop bets, more specific niche markets we'll look into on there. Everything will be fully researched with a write up on there as well, and all the profit will be tracked. So if you want to get a little bit extra from the podcast, then please do head over to T_FB podcast on Twitter, and then you can find the link to the Patreon on there where you can sign up as well. So please do join us. Hopefully, we'll get even more profit to add to what we read out on the show and the trebles.
Yeah, it's a great way to deliver some more refined bets, right? The slate
Yeah,
is so big that we can't read out a first scorer tip for every single game. We can't read out a yellow card tip, a player shot. We can't tip out all these little bits and pieces, but these are things that me and you, Tom, back on a weekly basis that we want to share with everyone because we think we're pretty good at it on top of the bread and butter of the, teams to win, both teams to score, unders, overs, that kind of stuff.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, so let's, without any further ado, go straight into the Premier League. Then, as usual, we're going to pick out our highlights across all four divisions and hopefully find some winners. Premier League and League Two is where it's at, I want to say, before we start.
Mm.
The Championship and League One, there's not an awful lot of meat there for me, but Premier League is decent. League Two is very good as usual. So we'll see what we've got here. Kicks off with Liverpool against Everton on Saturday at 12:30. And for me, Liverpool will probably win. They're far too short at 1.3. And I don't know if you've got any further opinion on this, but I couldn't make my mind up whether Liverpool will win and both teams will score, or Liverpool will win and both teams won't score, to be honest. And so I'm not quite sure where to go, but I do think Liverpool will win.
I think Liverpool to win and both teams to score, which is what I've got wrote down here at 2.5. Yeah, 2.5.
Mm.
I think Everton have hit the stride, haven't they? And they're always going to be a threat from set pieces, even though they haven't actually scored as many as you'd think this season. James Garner's delivery, Dwight McNeil, Tarkovsky, Calvert-Lewin, etc. You would think that they would be able to threaten from set pieces at least. And in Abdoulaye Doucouré, they got probably one of the most underrated kind of attacking eights in the league. So yeah, I can see them getting on the score sheet, but Liverpool to have way too much.
Yeah. Okay. Into the 3 o'clock. So we'll start off with the first couple. Bournemouth against Wolves, and Brentford against Burnley. Does that summarise it?
Not for me. I think we can get some value in Wolves, to
Oh,
be honest with you. Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. 3.0, I'll definitely be having a tickle. When you have a look at Bournemouth, they've got so many good players. Like I genuinely think I hate calling for change, but Iraola, is it? Iraola? I
Yeah,
can't say his name.
Ireola, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not seeing it. I think he's massively underperforming at the moment. Bournemouth are 19th, and to be honest with you, showing absolutely no sign of kicking on. They've only won 1 in 5, and that was a Carabao Cup win over Stoke. And if we have a look at their Premier League games, they failed to score in 3 of the last 4. The one game they did score in was an away loss to Brighton 3-1. They should be getting way more from this team. And yeah, when you look at Wolves, a team that is probably going to struggle this season and will still be down there, but definitely looking better than I thought they would. Lamina's been great in centre mid. Kaladzic, the Austrian striker, looks like a handful. Remember, he's barely played for Wolves because he did I think his ACL on his debut or something like that. But
Mm.
it's all about Pedro Neto, who's probably been, for me, the best player in the league so far, and Hwang Hee-chan, who's just 5-8. Um, yeah, I don't see why they don't go here full of confidence. Pressure's all on Bournemouth. Wolves to get a win 3.0. Gary O'Neill, with that extra bit of motivation between his teeth, I'm sure.
Sound like you're merging Dwight McNeil and Gary O'Neill into one superhuman. Um, we'll look at the next bunch of 3 o'clocks, and there's three to look through. They're three short prices. So Man City, Newcastle, and Forest, all short prices to win. Probably talking points in all of them. So first, we'll start with Man City against Brighton. I think here you can get Man City to win at 1.36. I think we can boost that to 2.4 with Man City to win and both teams to score. Brighton haven't kept a clean sheet for 13 consecutive games. They're not on a particularly good run of form. No clean sheets in 14 consecutive games against Manchester City in head-to-heads. And City, very unlike Man City, are being very loose at the back this season. They've not kept a clean sheet in 8 of the last 9 games. So the only clean sheet came against Forest in the league. So with that being said, and the fact they are conceding regularly, even though it's only kind of ones here and there, and the odd two, I think City will win this one 3-1, something like that. Man City's home record in the league is fantastic. They've not lost for months.
I'll move us into the Newcastle game against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace have only failed to score in one away game this season, so I'm going for Newcastle to win and both teams to score. So Newcastle on the nose regularly 1.45. If we chuck in that both teams to score, it's going to be 3.4. Both teams to score as an isolated bet is even money. I just think Newcastle obviously have turned St James's Park into a great fortress. The vibe there is pretty unrivaled. But as much as Palace are a little bit kind of Palace, kind
Mm.
of stodgy, stuck in ninth, win one, lose one, just very mid-table. I do think they can go there and score a goal at least. I mean, the one thing I will say is Crystal Palace are the third lowest scorers in the league with just 7 so far. So not exactly firing on all cylinders, but I can see them getting one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree. I definitely think Newcastle will get the victory here. Another short price though. Forest against Luton. Crikey, Forest are short, aren't we here? 1.66. We were saying before we came on air, seeing Forest in a Premier League match at 1.66 is bloody frightening. I do think we'll win. We are typically very good at the City ground. If we look back to last season as well, we've only lost one of the last 8 Premier League games at home. I can't see it changing, but it frightens the life out of me to bet on Forest at 1.66.
Luton double chance, I think, is
Oh,
worth a
no.
look.
Pessimistic Peter.
No, it's 2.15. I think this is a massive trap game for Forest. You talk about the home form. I think if we go through it, a draw against Brentford, a draw against Burnley, a loss against Burnley in the cup, sorry, a narrow win against Sheffield United in the league. Forest haven't got going at home at all. They've been much better away from home performance wise than home, in my opinion. And they're just very stodgy. They are one of the lowest scorers in the league. They are just above Palace, as I mentioned, and Burnley on 7. Forest are on 8. Incredibly stodgy. I could see this ending in a draw, to be honest
No.
with you. Uh,
Forest win 2-0. 2
three
nil.
three
We've got
point seven
Bruno.
five. Taylor Awani is still injured. Chris Wood, sure, maybe at times from the start, not sure. 3.75 for the draw or Luton double chance for me.
No, no, no,
Yeah, honestly, I don't see how you can talk yourself into the fact that Forest are doing well this season and they're going to go do this, that, and the other. They've been really stodgy. I think
no, no.
they'll finish exactly where a stodgy kind of season gets you, which is 12th, 13th, 14th, which is a brilliant season. I just don't see why you would be backing them to win based on performances at the moment.
Okay, fair. I feel like Luton keep letting you down every week. You're champion every week at the moment on the pod, and they keep letting you down.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they let you down again this weekend, but we
I'd
shall
like
see.
them to. I'd like them to.
5:30, we've got Chelsea against Arsenal. Any particular preference here? Because Arsenal are a decent price, above evens. It's rare that you get, your Man Cities and your Arsenals at prices above evens, and the 2.3 here away at Chelsea. Can you see them getting the win?
Yes, defensively, Chelsea have been very solid recently. It's not enough for their kind of little uptick in form for me to fall into the trap that they can go toe to toe with a genuine title challenger like Arsenal. I think it's very generous from the bookies to be giving us 2.3. Of course, last season can't really go off too much, but if you are a historical backer, Arsenal went here, won 1-0 last season. I could see something very similar. It's not going to be easy for Arsenal, but I think that's generous in the bookies, and I'll be all over that.
Yep. Kai Havertz to get a goal, perhaps.
No,
Um,
I don't think so.
Finally, then on Saturday, Sheffield United against Manchester United. Man U at 1.4. Will they win? Probably. Will it be a horrible game? Probably.
Yes,
Will it be a low scoring, hard fought, ground out victory? Probably, but I won't be betting on it, to be honest.
yeah, cannot be going anywhere near United at that,
No.
especially after the fight that Sheffield United put up against Man City. I know they got completely blitzed by Newcastle, but if they put in anything like that, they'll run it close.
Hmm. Right, we've got Aston Villa at home to West Ham as the only game on Sunday. Uh, I'm going to go for Aston Villa 1.9, and it's just their record at home in the league is fantastic, isn't it? I'm looking at the stats on my phone now. 9 consecutive victories for Villa in the Premier League at home. So yeah, I've got to go with it. They've knocked off some decent teams there. It's not just the lower sides in the division. We're talking wins against Brighton, Spurs, Newcastle, Forest. So yeah, I think they'll win here, but West Ham can cause them problems for sure. Villa win, both teams to score maybe.
Both teams to score. Exactly what I'm going off, Tom. Both teams, sorry, including their Europa League and Europa Conference League exploits. 4 of their last 6 games for both sides have been both teams to score. So yeah, for me, goals galore. Yeah, I think I'd go Villa if I had to, but I'd rather go goals.
Yeah, fair. And then finally, then to wrap up the Premier League, we've got Tottenham against Fulham on Monday. 1.5 for Spurs, 6 for Fulham, and 4.5 for the draw. And for Spurs at home, considering the fantastic form they're in, currently sat top of the Premier League, I doubt they'll be there by the time this game comes around. But yeah, it's a fantastic. Well, it's not a fantastic price. That's a bit over the top from me. It's not too bad. It's fine, and
It's fine.
yeah, I'm happy with it. I think it's fair. I think Spurs will score at least 2 goals. They've scored at least 2 goals in every game this season, bar the one against Luton last time they played in the Premier League. Yeah, I just think they'll get a comfortable routine win here against Fulham.
Yep, so do I. Nothing more to add.
Okay, Championship then, and it is well and truly the start of sacking season, isn't it, across the EFL?
Mm, yep.
We're recording on a Wednesday, and even today, in the hours before we started recording the podcast, I've seen a couple of sacking tweets across the leagues. People changing the dugouts, and we'll see how that impacts results this week. I just want to quickly get your take on the Middlesbrough Birmingham game. Obviously, Wayne Rooney's first game in charge after John Eustace was sacked before the international break. Rooney's had a week or so to work with the players, and they're 4.5 away at Middlesbrough, who are now on a very good run of form, 4 wins in a row in the Championship. But you know me, and you know I love a new manager bounce, and I want to know what you think. But 4.5 for Birmingham is quite tempting, to be fair.
It's big, for sure. It won't be seeing a penny of my money
Fair.
at all. I think what you'll find, Tom, if you go back to Rooney at Derby, he set up a very pragmatic team. Obviously, he had crazy circumstances surrounding what he was working with, etc. So I think he'll go there and he'll go there not to lose. But I think Middlesbrough are in the groove right now and will be too good to not win. I'm actually going Middlesbrough to win and both teams to score no, which is 3.0. I don't think Rooney will look to unleash the attacking side of Birmingham quite yet. I think he'll want to get his feet under the table.
Okay, fair. Um, I want to touch on Preston in the 12:30 at 2.37, and it wasn't something that particularly I was bothered about. But before we came on air, I noticed that Gary Rowett has left Millwall. He's been there for 4 years. They've had a bit of a rocky start to the season. I think they're in 15th in the league. So a very mixed bag in terms of their campaign in the Championship so far. And yeah, I just think the manager departing this close to a game, his assistants stepping up for this weekend, whilst they find a new man to take charge in the dugout. I think they're going away to Preston, who, whilst they have been a little bit ropey across their last few results, they have won 4 of 5 in the league at home at Deepdale. So, considering they are generally pretty strong here, and they're playing a now managerless Millwall, 2.37 could be a decent price in the lunchtime kickoff for Preston to get 3 points.
Yep, I'm with you on that one. West Brom are a team that I have barely tipped this season, but I'm going to in their home game against Plymouth, 1.7 for West Brom. It's basically down to West Brom's home record against Plymouth's away record. And I know sometimes it's not that simple, but I honestly think it might be on this occasion. West Brom have played 5 at home, won 3, drew 1, lost 1. And Plymouth have played 5 away games, won 0, drew 2, lost 3. They've only scored 4 goals on the road. Compare that to the 14 that they've scored at home. And yeah, West Brom, are they a team that I'm massively in love with and I think they're flying and, going to end up in the playoffs? No, I think they'll miss out ultimately. But we're talking about the here and now. And they've built a really solid foundation with 3 clean sheets in their last 4. I just think they'll have enough to see off a good Plymouth side at home, but one where the wheels are coming off a bit, Tom. 4 defeats in their last 6, just 1 win. Uh, their acclimatization looked very easy at the beginning of the season, but it looks like it's kind of hit a bit of a wall at the moment, which is completely understandable.
Yeah, yeah. There's only really one more thing that I particularly like in the Championship this week. So Maybe you might have a bit more to pad this bit out. But it's in the Blackburn against Cardiff match, and it's both teams to score.
That's
And it's
I'm not kidding you. That's exactly what I had.
well, there we go.
Yeah.
It's 1.66 for both teams to get on the score sheet. Now, Blackburn haven't kept a clean sheet at home since April. It's 11 consecutive games going right back into last season across all competitions and pre-season. Yeah, no clean sheets in 11 consecutive home games stretching back to April. And Cardiff, generally, are having a very good season. They're eighth in the league, 5 wins from their 11 games. Are they capable of winning away at Blackburn? I don't. Yes, but I wouldn't go that way. Are they capable of scoring at Blackburn? Absolutely. And Blackburn are typically very good at home anyway. And even though I've just said they don't keep clean sheets, they are generally pretty good at home and do tend to score quite a few. So I think it'll be a fairly entertaining game here. Result wise, I'm not sure where it's going to go, but yeah, both teams to score.
Into League One, and we're going to start off with Derby County. They are away at Shrewsbury, a team that I said, I think last week or the week before, that I was really concerned about. They've done little to change my mind in that time, despite getting a win against Northampton Town. And yeah, Derby for me, just away from home have largely been good this season. They've lost none of their last 4 away matches, none of their last 7 in all home and away. They've managed to win 4 of their last 6 home and away. And, I just think that, a team that's won 4 of 6 at their opponent's grounds and scoring 14, conceding 6, goal difference of 8. Like this is a serious team on the road. And I know they've let us down for the bet, which I spoke about at the start of the show. They were the team that killed us a couple of weeks back. But, the second best away record in the league speaks volumes for me. And yeah, Derby shouldn't have any issues. And if they're serious about mounting a promotion charge, they've got to go to Shrewsbury and get a win, who kind of sliding without control, really.
Hmm. Yeah, I can see why you've chucked it out there. I'm not going anywhere near Derby. I don't trust them
1.85,
behind
I
me.
think it's a good price, to be honest.
It's all right. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. I'm going to touch on Charlton at 1.83. So just a tad shorter there than Derby, but I feel Charlton are a much more solid pick this week. Um, they're on a good run of form now at home. They've scored at least 2 goals in 5 consecutive home league games, winning 3 and drawing 1 of the last 4 as well. So doing very well at home at the Valley. And Reading are just shocking. They're woeful away from home. They've lost all games they've played away from home in League One this season. So 6 played, 6 lost, and they're not losing. They're not. And sorry, they're also losing to particularly average teams. I'd say, these are losses to Leighton Orient, to Northamptons, to Cambridge, to Exeter, to Port Vale. It's not like they're going away to the big hitters and losing. They're losing to fairly average mid-table teams here. So a trip away to Charlton, who are banging form. I think Charlton will get this one comfortably.
Probably the standout. Well, probably this and another one in League Two are the standout tips in the entire slate this weekend from a purely kind of percentage to win term rather than a price. Portsmouth 1.53 at
Absolutely.
home to Carlisle. Yeah, I mean, first against 20th, South against North. It's a long way for Carlisle to come. Portsmouth have won 6 in a row. Carlisle have won 1 of 6. Pompey haven't lost at home all season. Carlisle have won just 1 of 6 and only scored 6 on the road. Yada, yada, yada. It's a pretty obvious one, but it is about as strong as it gets this weekend. Pompey
Yeah,
1.53.
completely agree. Completely agree. If there's anything other than a Portsmouth win here, I think something's gone majorly wrong,
Yeah.
and everybody's actors will be shot, won't they?
Yeah, they'll be absolutely down the drain.
What have we got? Yeah, one more from me in this league, Burton at 2.6, I thought was quite a nice price. They're the outsiders in their game against Bristol Rovers, even though they are the home side. Dino Marmari has clearly clubbed some heads together at Burton because they've won 3 in a row now, unbeaten in 7 consecutive games. And it's that form, especially at home, where they have won 3 in a row, and only lost one of the last five, which makes me wonder why they're such a big price against the Bristol Rovers side, who are in very patchy form. They've lost 3 of their last 4 away games in League One, so it's not like they're on particularly good form themselves. So, yeah, the form compared to the odds doesn't quite stack up for this particular game for me. So, Burton to win at a big price, at a minimum, Burton on the double chance.
Moving into League Two.
Yep, let's move into our favourite league in the whole wide world.
Yeah, Mansfield Town. I'll get started off with 1.45. I think they must be the shortest price in League Two. Uh, I mean, Tom, I don't know if you saw highlights or watched because obviously it was international break and they put the Notts County Mansfield game on Sky. Unbelievable performance of Mansfield in the Nottinghamshire derby, a 4-1 win.
Mm.
Amazing, really. You have to take your hat off to them. They must be absolutely bouncing into this game. They've won 2 consecutively. They've won 3 of the last 6. The other 3 were draws, so no defeats in their last 6. Forest Green have turned it round somewhat. David Horseman was apparently on the chopping block, but he's responded to that pressure after 4 consecutive defeats with 2 consecutive wins. One was in the Pizza Cup, but the other one a 5-0 battering of Colchester. And as a Colchester backer, I couldn't believe my eyes, to be honest with you, last weekend. But yeah, Mansfield shouldn't have any issues putting Forest Green aside. Despite that, they're unbeaten at home all season, winning 3 of 6 and drawing 3 of them as well. They have been a bit goal shy at home, which does concern me. They've scored double the amount of goals away from home, Mansfield. They've scored 14 on the road and 7 at home. So I'd love to see that improve. But I think this game played 10 times, Mansfield win this 8 or 9 comfortably.
Yeah, completely agree. Tom, a few certainties in life: death, taxes, Crew to score 2 or more goals in every League Two game this season. This is one of those recurring themes on the pod, I feel, that keeps coming in. So we're going to keep going with it.
Yep.
They have scored at least 2 goals in 12 of their 13 League Two matches so far this season. They go away to Crawley this weekend. Crawley themselves have been involved in some big high-scoring games so far, so this one has the potential to be a cracker on paper for me. But yeah, Crew going away. That scoring record, I can't ignore it. For them to score at least 2 goals again this weekend, it's 2.5. So I'm absolutely all over it, to be honest. Even though their away record, Crews, isn't actually that great, they've scored 2, 3, 2, 2, 4. So there's only one win there, despite the fact that they're scoring all those goals. They've lost 4-2, they've drew 3-3, they've had a couple of 2-2 draws. So result-wise, it's probably going to be a bit of a coin toss. It could go any way, but yeah, I think there'll be goals and entertainment here.
Woo, woo, woo! That is the potential price of the weekend, Claxon.
Oh yeah.
Let's go. It's Notts County, 2.62 away at Gillingham. I don't understand why we're not excited about Notts County still. They haven't won in 3, but if you have a look at that, they drew away at Barrow. Sure, they'll be a bit disappointed with that. They lost to Derby in the Pizza Cup, whatever, and got hammered by Mansfield. That's fine. But before that, they were the darlings of the league, really. Apart from that Colchester defeat where they lost 5-4, they were absolutely sensational and they were top of the league and they were everybody's fancy. But now it seems that not many people are talking about them. A couple of pods and articles that I've been listening to, not even a mention of Notts this weekend. And
Mm,
we're talking about a Gillingham side who have also come off a 4-1 defeat, but this one's against Walsall, which gives me more alarm bells than the Notts County Mansfield one. And Gillingham before that, they're kind of propped up on quicksand a little bit. They beat MK Dons, who we saw change their manager in midweek. That's about as easy as it gets. They lost to Crewe, they drew to Mansfield, they lost to Doncaster. Since the Neil Harris thing, they really have kind of been propped up on quicksand. And honestly, I'm not buying it at all. Not keep the faith, 2.62. I think you could be looking at that come 5 o'clock and be like, wow, why didn't I back
mm,
a team that was top of the league like a week ago?
mm. Yeah, whilst I do agree, and retrospectively, this could be a really good price, I feel like we've been here before and been stung before because I remember on the last couple of pods where they played away from home, they've been above evens, and that was when they played Colchester away. They were even money. When they played Barrow away, they were 2.2, and they failed to win in both games because I remember us saying, "Oh, can't you a good price or over evens for a change? Let's
Mm,
let's jump on them," and they let us down twice. So I'm a little bit wary, but
that's fair.
2.62 is, we're getting into different levels here of pricing, and that's yeah, it is tempting.
Yep.
It's tempting. Um, General woo 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 bet of the weekend. You alluded to it when we touched on Portsmouth. The other one is Stockport. They're 1.53 at home to Grimsby, and yeah, similarly to the Pompey game, something is going to have gone drastically wrong, and everyone's accas will absolutely be in tatters if Stockport lose as well. 8 consecutive wins, 9 games without defeat, and they're playing a Grimsby side at home who are winless in the last 3 without a clean sheet in 9. So all the stats, all the form and momentum just adds up to a Stockport win here, considering they're now top of the league. Grimsby down in 18th, won 3 of their 13 all season. Yeah, it would be a huge coupon buster if Stockport didn't win again here.
Mm. Yep. Totally agree. It's a standout in League Two. That and Portsmouth.
Mm.
Yeah, they look very 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 strong. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Do you have anything else for the Profit Chasers?
Yes, Salford, I think, could get a win at a good price. They're 2.7. They're at home to Swindon. I appreciate Swindon are in 6th. However, their home form and away form is like night and day. They are second, Swindon, in the home form table. However, away from home, they've won just one of their 6 games. So they are very much struggling on the road. That win came away at Forest Green back on the 15th of August. So 5 games since, no victories. Um, and Salford, yes, they lost to Wrexham last weekend, late on 3-2, but they have scored at least 2 goals in 5 consecutive league games now. So 3 wins and 2 defeats in that. Both the defeats have been 3-2 defeats. So if they can keep things tighter at the back, they have got proven firepower, proven they can score goals. They're doing it consistently, coupled with Swindon's poor away form. I think 2.7 for Salford could be a decent one this weekend.
Okay. So we will transition, sorry, into reviewing last week's treble in a little bit more detail, and then going through this week's treble. So looking back, it was pretty comfortable in the end, to be honest with you. We had
Right.
Swindon Town to beat Newport. They did so. They won 2-0. Then we had Crewe, Tom, as you alluded to beat Tranmere. They won. What score?
2-0.
Correct. And then we had Stockport away at Harrogate Town, and they managed to win 3-1. So to say it was 6.48, that's pretty comfortable, to be honest with you.
And it's another treble victory, same as what we had a couple of weeks ago, where we could have gone for the -1 and won even
Yeah, we
more.
could. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. The Saturday, 1st of October fixtures 2-0, 2-0, 3-0, all in our favour. You're spot
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
And do you know what? The the one between them, the one that we lost because Derby drew, the two teams that we had also won 2-0. Maybe you're on something.
yeah, yeah. So maybe worth backing the handicap -1 treble version as well.
Mm,
So for this weekend, and you might want to look at it because, to be honest, this isn't the biggest price treble in the world this weekend. We are going to go for Portsmouth to beat Carlisle. We're going to go for Stockport to beat Grimsby, and then Charlton to beat Reading. So a £10 example stake would return you £45.60. The treble paying 4.56 there. So that's Portsmouth, Stockport, and Charlton.
nice. Yeah, really fancy that. Like we said, particularly the Pompey Stockport legs look
Mm-hmm.
unbelievably strong. And then, yeah, Charlton, as you mentioned, Tom Redding, not having the best time of it, especially away from home. So, yeah, really confident of that. Hopefully, you guys will join us on the train back in that treble. But we're hoping that everyone gambles responsibly. We hope everybody puts their own research into these legs. Yeah, me and Tom are saying that Stockport and Portsmouth are strong, but we spent time looking into it, and it's just our opinion at the end of the day. So make sure you're doing your own research off the back of that and keeping your stakes to an affordable limit.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that is pretty much everything for this week. There's no point going through fantasy football because there hasn't been any games. So yeah, just thank you for listening. We appreciate everyone that does, all the good comments and all the bet slips that have been flying in on social media. We love to see them. We love to see that people have been making a bit of money off the back of the podcast. Please do check out FBP Plus. Once again, you can go to social media and get the link to join there. Yeah, and thanks for listening, really.
Yeah, T_FB podcast will be the place to be for the midweek EFL slate as well. So keep your eye out. That'll be the only spot where we put out the bulk of the tips.
Cool. Well, thanks a lot, guys. Have a profitable weekend again, and we'll see you same time again next week.